Alrighty, we're back with our Tecumseh 2.5 horsepower motor. So we've got the head back on and we've got some spark happening now. And let's go ahead and give her a crank over, and we got our valves going up and down. Not sure if you can see that or not, but they're still doing their thing. Still got some corrosion in there. But next up for us is the carburetor. Can't do anything while she's got no way to bring in some gas. That looks like a coil kill from the ignition. Low throttle shuts it down, and then we've got our carburetor here, which siphons gas off our tank, which I did in regards forget to, it's attached to the head, so we'll have to undo 3 head bolts to get that back on. But let's get the carburetor in good shape first, and get it reattached. And it has in here good a little intake manifold runner. It's kind of neat because it bolts here, and then the carburetor actually is at the 90 degrees there. There's actually another piece right there, so it's actually 2 manifolds. So we'll probably take that apart too. We got to take the whole carb apart if we can. Hopefully not rip any diaphragms, and see what we can do to help this thing out, because it's not very happy, right? And we also got to put the breather back on. So enjoy. My guess is by the design on the bottom here, and there's a hole to the crankcase, that this is actually to divert gases out and into the valve area, oil bypass and whatever, and kind of lets it fall down. So I'm assuming the correct installation is this way. Put a little anti-seize on that too. Probably wouldn't hurt, but I won't do it. Put a gasket maker around this as well, but there's an existing overly squished gasket that we'll just pretend works. Maybe we'll put a little oil around it. That might be okay. I'm not saying there are cobwebs in there, but holy carp. That's the intake to the carburetor. Holy crap. I'd like to get underneath this. I know there's crap in here, corrosion, but if I rip this diaphragm then we're done. So I'm gonna have to put it back for now and just hope that when it runs it doesn't plug up too much stuff before it all dissolves, hopefully. I think we're pretty close to sticking it back together again, at least for now. It is what it is, until we actually get a rebuild kit for it, which I'm trying to find. I guess there's a model number there. That'd probably be the best bet, but till that point, I just have to remember how this thing was on. I'm guessing this way. Matches up pretty good that way. Hopefully that would include a new diaphragm and spring probably. It's a pulse jet carburetor or type of pulse where it's using whatever piston action to pump that diaphragm, which pumps fuel into the carburetor, which sends her on her way. So I can't really risk damaging that one too far, or we're just not getting anywhere with this kit. And I'm hoping to get this thing at least kicked off a little bit in this video. Even if I can get it to run while putting fuel down the carb, I consider that a pretty large success. Not sure which way these gaskets are supposed to go, except they're supposed to be both the same way. So I'm going to put the little copper gasket down, then the little rubber gasket. I'm guessing it's probably the other way because it's to protect the gasket from the spring, but when your carburetor's this toast, it doesn't really matter, does it? That seems seated, so I'm going to back it up 1.5. There's 1.5. We're going to do this with the other one, if it does even seat or if there's crap on the seat. Or I'm just squishing the spring too far. Go ahead and back it 1.5. I'll guess in the ballpark of where it's supposed to be anyway. All right, let's stick the intake manifolds back on. And in theory, we're at a point where we could put it back on and squirt some gas into it and see if it would actually fire off, which is kind of where we want to go because we don't want to go too far without we want to make sure we still work. We could fire this thing off and it's a big clunk in it because the bearings are toast, but okay, the problem I'm going to deal with off camera is my fuel tank's full of rock, so I'm just going to shake all these out, hopefully get that cleaned out. I'll be right back. So the tank's mostly cleaned out. We're going to do the right thing and take the head off wrong. I'm just kidding. What we're gonna do is loosen all the head bolts, but I also forgot this little protective shield that goes here to keep the wind from blowing into that. So we're just gonna go ahead and do that. Where's my can of things that make clean? There we go. Let's spray our expensive camera equipment. And since the primer bulb's got a big hole in it anyway, who cares? So that's put away. In theory, we're good to go. So I'm gonna put some gas in it and have it all drip out, and then we're gonna say screw that and squirt some gas down the carb and see if we can get it to fire. If we can get enough fire out of it, then we'll put it on the rack and see if we can get it to run. As predicted, fuel system leaks like a sieve. Cool. Let's go ahead and put the cap on, just keep up appearances. Maybe the vacuum, because the plug is the vented plug, will help keep it still. Don't, obviously it's a primer only system, no choke. Yeah. That's awesome. Let's see if we can get a little fire out of it. That'd be neat if we could do that. So I have enough recoil to do anything too, right? Try to zap myself on the... Oh yeah, that was a little bit of a hello. All right, so that's worth moving her down to the engine stand and cranking on it some more. Okay, so I've got my dripping gas can here, and no throttle control. Can't even remember which way is on, so that's good. And lots of gasoline. So let's see if we can get it to run for a little bit. Even if I got to pound gasoline down the carburetor there. At least we know we've got a runner and we can move on from there, and I can kind of wrap up this video series, right? This is the engine stand. It just gives me somewhere stable to run the motor without it running around the yard. Well, that answers that. Woo! Backfire. Thank you. So as I realized, I've got no real way to turn it off. Sweet. So even with the leaky fuel line, it'll run on its own. So that's a winner. And you know, given a lot of seafoam and a lot of runtime and the governor linkage and all sorts of cool stuff like that, I think we're there. So sweet. If you got any questions on this motor, like, why does it run? It's a Tecumseh. Well, I can't answer those questions, but it does kind of run a little bit. We got tweaking on the high and lows as well. But that's that. So if you have any questions, ask them. Comments, feel free to leave them. Like, I know there are Briggs haters out there and Tecumseh haters and lovers and all that stuff, but whatever. And you guys have a good day. What am I going to do for a slow-mo outro? We'll just do the dripping and the gas, because that's typical for this girl. Catch you later.